Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's good to have you with me again. This is an episode of Educating Peter, and as you can see, I have a wonderful guest joining me on the channel today, the fabulous Natalia Denisiuc. And Natalia is a wonderful colleague of mine at Insight, where she works in the modern workplace team. It's lovely to have you here today, Natalia. Would you mind just doing a brief introduction to yourself and who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, pleasure to be here, Peter. Very excited to do this. My role, I'm a consultant, and I've been here since the beginning of the journey when we first started to talk about Copilot, and then when it became generally available. So, I've been using it myself. I deliver workshops, and essentially, I'm responsible for getting people excited about it, educating, and also preparing customers for it if you want to roll it out in your environment. So
Mm.
that's what I do. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I think there's nothing like getting straight into a demo. So you're going to show us a little bit about M365 Copilot, all of the introductory features. So you've got your screen all ready to share. I will just add that to the stage for you now, and we can get started.
So when it comes to Copilot for Microsoft 365, it extends beyond the core applications, which are Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. That's what we are used to. That's what we work with every day. What
Mm.
we are going to specifically focus on today is we're going to start in Outlook, look into Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Loop. And I'll show all the functionalities available within them. So what we've got in front of us, let's say it's an email thread, and I'm sure you're familiar with the feeling if you get copied into something and it's quickly, can you help me resolve this? Or
Mm.
it's an issue and you're quickly needing to catch up on what's actually happening. So here I'm clicking on the summary by Copilot, and I'll be able to get an indication of everything that's being spoken about.
Mm.
So just for us to have a look is Karam is looking to hire a senior software engineer. You asked about specific requirements and desired qualifications. She's replied that the candidate must have at least 5 years of experience. I've asked about specific work benefits. What's good is that I get specific references as well, so I can jump directly into what's being spoken about. You
Mm.
can imagine if you're, for example, in customer services and somebody delivered a package to the wrong address. By using these references, you'll be able to jump quickly to that actual issue at hand.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. And I've been using this myself very recently, and it's so amazing to be able to save time like this and get to the real core of what the email's trying to get across to you, isn't it? So really powerful
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. And once we go further into the demonstration, we're going to reuse these files actually and do some exciting things with them. To continue with the rest of the functionalities available in Outlook, you can also draft emails with the
Hmm.
support of Copilot. So just to demonstrate, you can see I've got my here draft with Copilot.
Yeah.
And let's just say I want to draft an email from the IT department to users informing them that the data migration over the weekend of 3rd and 4th of February 2024. And let's just say I want to remind them of the importance of saving their work before the migration starts and any consequences of not doing so. Just want to show the filters here. So we've got short.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to make casual just to play with it and
Yeah.
what happens. It's quite interesting how it is. And then obviously we can play more with the filters and see what how it would change. So hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your work. I'm writing to inform you that we'll be conducting data migration. And then you see it's formatted, it knows what my name is, finishes off,
Yeah.
have a great day. Thank you for your patience and support. And what I'd like to do, should we perhaps change the tone and see how it's different?
Yeah, let's change the tone and see some different options.
Yeah.
So more
Have you been
formal.
using this yourself, Peter, drafting emails with
I
Copilot?
have, I have. It's made a real difference to my day-to-day activities, I have to say. And this is coming from somebody who many people know that I was a bit skeptical about this to begin with, but I've been a convert, and it's saving me so much time in replying to emails, and I love it. I really do.
Yeah. And I guess the first difference that I'm seeing is um, it sounds a little bit more formal, let's say, because they say, we
Mm,
appreciate your cooperations and patience during this time. And then if you have any questions or concern, please contact the IT department. And it's even giving me a draft here in which I can insert the company name and the references.
yeah.
So that's what it's good for.
Wonderful.
But you don't only draft emails with Copilot. I'm curious whether you use the coaching feature of the Copilot in Outlook.
Do you know, I actually haven't used the coaching feature yet. And it's funny you should mention that, Natalia, because I only just noticed that feature today, earlier on,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh, I must check that out. But then I had a feeling you might mention it. So tell me all
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, of course. So let's just say I've got this message, this email that I'm wanting to deliver.
Mm,
I find it's typically helpful when you're wanting to deliver some news that necessarily are not easy to deliver. So an
mm,
applicant was unsuccessful in a job, and what we've got on the screen for me, for example, is, let's say we've got a signed contract, but we're not able to start the work well in the next 4 weeks. So we're just having
mm,
to deliver that news. Perhaps somebody's wanting to go, but we're saying, okay, we can't do that just yet.
mm.
So I've got the message here on the screen, and when I'm
Yep.
going to be using coaching by Copilot, let's see what are the type of suggestions it's telling me to do when it comes to what is already on the screen and what I drafted.
Mm. Analyzing your email. Wow, it's very
Yeah,
clever, isn't it? Ooh,
yeah,
wow. Now I haven't seen this. Definitely, I've not tried this yet.
yeah, exactly. So first of all, we could be a lot more polite.
Hmm.
So instead of saying we need at least 4 weeks, the email could say we require a minimum of 4 weeks, or even we kindly request 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Sounds slightly annoyed. So
Ooh. We don't
yeah,
want to come across as annoyed, do we, in an email? We definitely want to
exactly.
avoid that.
Yeah, the email could start with, we are glad to hear that you're eager to start the project, or we appreciate your enthusiasm for the project. This is
Mm,
something I'm, for example, guilty of. I'm just, because of so many tasks in my day,
mm,
sometimes when I'm getting emails, I just want to respond quickly and I perhaps don't acknowledge in the
yeah.
first line the way people typically do, such as thank you for the attach or thank you for the responding. So I'm
Mm,
sure this is the type of stuff it would get me into the habit of doing. And
definitely,
then
definitely.
adding more details as well. So um, the email could include a sentence like the mobilization process involves hiring and training the staff,
Mm,
securing the equipment and materials, and setting up the site. So even after this one email, perhaps when I'm delivering another piece of news, I would learn from this perhaps and know, okay, next time I'm requesting something,
mm.
adding more detail or acknowledging how they feel would help in getting the message across.
Yeah, definitely. And I can see there's a regenerate button over there. If you do that, I'm
Oh.
guessing that'll implement all of these recommendations that it's giving you here.
So it doesn't necessarily, we can try that, but it doesn't necessarily regenerate the message. It will
Hmm.
regenerate the advice that it's giving.
Mm,
So let's
okay.
have a look.
Wow. I love seeing it at work like this. I love watching all the
Yeah.
stages, gathering insights, getting suggestions. It's
Hmm.
so
So
clever.
it is slightly different. So last time when we generated this, it said you sound annoyed, right?
Mm, mm,
This time around is saying try adding more empathy
yeah.
or sound too vague, when in the previous draft it said you could add more detail. So Um, yeah, this is a very cool feature, and I have used it when I had to deliver some like news that perhaps are sensitive or something
Mm.
that is challenging to deliver, and it just helped me a little bit through getting the message across.
Definitely. And does this feature of Copilot in Outlook, Natalia, does it work on when you're trying to prepare longer form emails that are not just a couple of sentences? Because we've all received those emails that are many, many paragraphs. They usually come from leaders. Say we've got
Hmm.
imagine our president of EMEA at Insight wanted to send a very long email detailing a lot of what's going on with business plans and whatnot. Could he use Copilot to do that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And there is no limit on the length of the email. And the reason why I did make this quite vague, I think the suggestion is quite clear that you should be expanding on it. But I imagine if we do extend this message and make this a lot longer, many paragraphs, I'm wondering whether perhaps then it will say, think about formatting your email or
Mm.
clearly segmenting the sections. So it works either way, really. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. Cool stuff indeed. So what do we need to look at next then? What's the next step in this in the Copilot story?
So, what I'd like to step into next is Word. And
Hmm.
let's just say perhaps you've got a master sales agreement in front of
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's an agreement between the provider and the client, and it details the services that are going to be given. So,
Mm.
you can imagine this lands onto your desk and there's an urgent request perhaps to, we're about to send this to the customer. Can you
Mm.
just make sure that this is all okay before we are sending this?
Yeah.
And you've got about, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes, and you just need to make sure that there is nothing contractually bounding or there's no risks for either of the organizations.
Hmm.
So instead of going through every single section and trying to determine what's what, we can start using Copilot in terms of getting clarity and understanding
Yeah.
um, information about this agreement.
Mm.
So we've got the Copilot icon, and first of all, you can see we've got here the pre-prepared prompts. So write about change, summarize this document, or ask a question about this document.
Yeah.
Um, I will use one of my own. So I will say, I am the client mentioned in this agreement. What should I be aware of before signing it?
Ah, very important to know as the client when they want to
Yeah,
don't want to be
yeah,
planning their life and their rights away, do they?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And as you can tell, I'm using natural language as well. So
Mm.
this is somebody that would be asking this in quite normal conversation.
Yeah.
And you
Mm.
can see it's starting to group. So according to the document, as the client mentioned, you should be aware of the following key points. And then
Mhm.
it's summarized the key points just to go through a couple. So it's mentioned where the services are happening,
Mhm.
the hours, what is there to pay, the termination of this agreement, um, then that the services must be performed in satisfactory and workmanlike manner. The provider will be liable for any damage or loss. So that's, I straight away know I'm not responsible for that as the
Mm.
client. That's the provider's side.
Yeah.
And the provider will treat as confidential any information that the provider obtains. So, but let's just say this is still quite heavy. So I just want to extract very specific
Mhm.
information. So I can say, when will the services be carried out?
Okay. Ooh, pulling things together. I like how it gives you these little status updates. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see now that it's working. So it's highlighted according to the document between Monday and Thursday, and the hours of 9 till 5. And I can
Mm.
even jump into the references. So
Ah,
I know that it's in the schedule to, if you saw this, maybe if perhaps we go here and if I click again, it takes me back to exactly where it's referencing this from. And let's just say I'm continuing to just explore the contract. And I just want to know, it mentioned something about the termination, didn't it? And it said, let's have a
yeah,
look.
I think you did.
Um, Either party may terminate this agreement at any time, but let's just
Mm.
say I don't have the time to go and jump and extract that. But what I want to know is there any penalty to terminating the contract?
Mm. Very good point. Let's take a look.
Something that you would want to know from either side, really. So if you're
Definitely.
writing this, you would want to include this perhaps if it has not been included, or is the
Yeah.
customer, yeah. So according to the document, there is no penalty for terminating the contract early. So not only it's extracting what is there, but it's also
Mm.
telling you what is not there. So there is
Mm.
no penalty, so it will tell you there is no mention of the penalty. And once again, we can go to the reference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is super cool. So I have a question. Thinking of in our world where we work as consultants and we are producing scopes of work for our customers, they can quite often be open to interpretation. And could Copilot search through a scoping document and could you put in a natural language saying, can you identify any ambiguity in this document where things could
Mhm.
be interpreted differently? Do you think it could do that?
Yeah, I think that's such a cool example, and I would love to test this and maybe come back and we see how it
Yeah.
works. So something that's a little bit more, perhaps not as obvious. So, for example,
Mm.
penalty for termination. So, how would it determine what is being ambiguous? Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely agree.
exactly.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
brilliant. Let's do that on another one. Let's take that one away as a bit of homework.
Hmm.
I love it. Awesome. Love this. This is so cool. So, what's next, Natalia?
What's next? So we've seen that you can analyze the documents, which I
Yeah.
think is the part that we all skip quite frequently, but Copilot is really powerful at doing that. What I want to
Yeah.
do next is actually start creating. So
Hmm.
let's open a new file. So here in front of us, we've got an empty document, and you can see that the Copilot window pulled up straight away, but I can
Yeah.
call for it myself because the icon is always here.
Hmm.
And do you remember that email earlier about hiring a senior software engineer?
I do. I do indeed.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the moment where it all comes back together.
Yeah.
In that email, I was asked to create a job description that's going to be
Hmm.
shared online to attract new candidates and interview them. So let's just say I want to write a clear and concise job title that accurately reflects this position. I want to include a brief overview of the role and responsibilities and
Hmm.
list the required qualifications, skills, experience, mention any benefits or perks that come with the job. And what I'm going to start doing is I'll start referencing files that I also want
Ah,
to include here.
yes.
So,
Awesome.
what first file is that's our fictional company, so Gamma,
Hmm.
and that's their values. Then
Hmm.
we will have the role responsibilities of the senior software engineer.
Yeah. So you're doing a forward slash whenever you wanting additional prompts. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. Whenever
Cool.
I want to reference the document here, I just do forward slash, and
Mm.
this is how they come up for me. I can reference up to 3 documents here.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
let's generate. And I think you saw that my prompt is quite detailed in what I'm asking. I'm
Yeah.
finding it's very worthwhile to invest into your prompt and give the co-pilot the context of what you're doing and what you're wanting to achieve.
Certainly is. Wow. Ah, here it comes. It's starting to come in. Wow. It's presenting it as it's building it. So we're getting the first paragraphs and it's Wow. This is sensational. Qualifications and skills, experience, at least 5 years. Wow. This is so time saving, isn't it? And referencing the other documents that you've put in the prompt, which is incredible. Because the time you would spend doing that yourself, opening up those other files and maybe copying and pasting and trying to find exactly the content you need and then rewording it. And it's doing all that for you here, which is saving you so much time and effort and enabling you to focus on other tasks more quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's grouped this all into the sections. And what I want to point out, for example, what I quite enjoy is um, it includes a call to action in the end, and it even
Mm.
is making an assumption. Obviously, it's an assumption, but still
Mm.
careers at the fictional company gamma.com.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
and what I also want to show you, so if we look at the actual work benefits document,
Hmm.
um, to see whether it's pulled that detail correctly,
Okay.
just bring this up on my screen.
Cool. Here we go.
So I guess let's just pick a few. So volunteering time off up to 40 hours of paid time off per year.
Hmm.
Has that been included? Yeah, there you go. So
Oh,
some
yeah.
of these things, yeah, exactly. So some of these things, obviously, it's using the power of the large language model. So
Hmm.
including a call to action at the end and knowing how to structure the overall description. And some of it, it does absolutely go and reference the files that I had asked it to reference.
Mm.
So there are no things here being added that are not mentioned in the files. So you ensure the accuracy of what you're creating.
Oh, fantastic stuff indeed. That is absolutely brilliant. But, and when you think about it, Copilot in its current form, it's still quite new. I mean, it's been around what, less than a year, perhaps, or I lose track of time, but about that. And this is really only the very early versions of it, I guess. So what it can do already, compared to what's probably going to come, is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I can only speculate, but things like the number of files you can potentially reference, or
Mm.
whether like I can reference other sources than just the files. I know
Mm.
Microsoft are constantly updating their Outlook experience, and we've seen Loop coming up. So
Mm.
maybe as this evolves, we will be able to reference Loop components as well. I can
Mm.
only see this becoming more and more integrated. And by the time this video comes out, we will have to keep updating this, because new functionality is going to be released all the time.
Oh, so true. And I totally agree. I feel sorry for Microsoft sometimes because they do things in such good faith and they'll put them out in the market. And quite often people will immediately, well, not all people, but some people might pounce on it and say, well, it can't do this or it can't do that, rather than focusing what it can do. And they're
Mm,
constantly looking for feedback from the community and organizations on how to improve these things. They're not sitting on their hands. They're trying to tell a great story and add to things rather than take away. So hopefully most people won't be frustrated by what's not there just now, because there's plenty of good stuff that is there. It's really incredible.
yeah, completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. So where we're jumping to next is going to be PowerPoint.
Oh, awesome. I love
And
that.
do you tend to use PowerPoint in your job, Peter?
I do, yes, quite extensively. We do a lot of presentations for customers in my team, and we've got a lot of slide decks for our offerings. So very familiar with PowerPoint.
Okay, excellent. So let's just say we've got the template in front of us. It's just one of them that has been pre-prepared for me. I've got my Copilot icon here. And
Yeah.
the reason why I mentioned template is that we're about to create a presentation and we're going to ask Copilot to follow this theme. But
Hmm.
obviously, because we've started here, it will follow that. So let's just keep an eye on the colors, for example.
Yeah.
I'm saying let's create a presentation from a file and we're
Hmm.
going to reference a marketing campaign
Uh-huh.
for an automatic bamboo toothbrush. And we're also going to ask to include relevant pictures of dental hygiene throughout.
Oh, wow. Looking things over and almost there. I'm excited to see what this does. I really am. The anticipation is, oh, here we go.
So it will always ask me, can I create a new draft? Because
Yeah.
unless I do, it overwrites this. So,
Mhm.
but it must keep the theme. So the colors and
Yeah.
how like this has been arranged.
Okay. So any sort of formatting changes within the style of the template, you would have to alter yourself at the moment, is what we're saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you will see in a second.
Cool, cool. Oh, right.
And I'll also show you the document to demonstrate how it's pulling this information across.
Yeah, fantastic. 83%. Wow, it's doing this really quickly, isn't it? From
Yeah, yeah.
nearly done.
So here you can see it's kept the colors and it's kept the format. So we had
Hmm.
Galaxy, but it's replaced that with the marketing campaign for an automatic
Mm.
bamboo toothbrush. And this is all that it's
Wow.
going through.
Is it weird that I want one of these toothbrushes actually now?
Really?
Dental benefits. Oh, so where's it finding the images from? Is it just going out to the World Wide Web and finding those somewhere?
No, it's using the pictures that are being provided by the PowerPoint
Ah,
already.
right. I don't.
Yeah, but it's interpreting what is being said. So you
Mm,
can see, for example, visuals and branding, and we are saying use imagery that resonates with the eco-friendly lifestyle. And here
mm,
it's pulling an image that it thinks is an eco-friendly lifestyle. I assume cycling through the fields would be one. So it does interpret what is being said. It doesn't just copy across the material. So, for
mm,
example, here the target audience is young, educated, and affluent women that care about their oral health and the environment.
mm,
So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. And the pictures, for example, this picture, it's pulling this picture from the file.
mm.
So, I'll just bring up the file.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
see. There you
yeah,
go.
exactly. So
Very. And again, when you think
when
about the effort that it would take to do this from scratch, even with a PowerPoint template, you'd be typing some stuff in and copying and pasting from other sources, and it's doing all that for you in a matter of seconds and getting you a really good starting point, and you can tweak and edit from there and get it to how you want to be, saving lots of time.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's quite a repetitive task, isn't it, to just copy the
Yeah.
titles and then format them into the bullet points. So why spend your time doing that when you can use it somewhere else now?
Exactly, exactly. So I do love PowerPoint. It's such an amazing tool, such an underappreciated tool. I've always found. I think it's everyone focuses on the hero products of Office being Word and Excel and probably Outlook, but PowerPoint's so important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely agree with you.
Hmm.
So what we've done in Word, which is ask questions about the document, we
Hmm.
can also do in PowerPoint. So
Hmm.
let's just assume we didn't just generate this, it just came across to us and we're wanting to understand what is being spoken about. So
Yeah.
perhaps I'm a marketing manager and I've just been asked to glance over the presentation before it goes across to our sales team. So I said, could you summarize this presentation? And it's grouped into the main ideas.
Yeah.
He gave me the product overview, the features, the target audience, the marketing message, and advertisement channels. So you can see it's quite a short summary of what's come across. I don't necessarily need to go and spend the time understand what is being said on every single slide. This is more than enough for me to get up to speed.
Yeah.
Plus, I can jump into the references once again.
Ah, yes.
You see?
Excellent.
So I
I
can
do.
follow exactly where everything is being mentioned.
Ah, superb. Do you know where I can see this being really useful in my world is I quite often have to look at requests for, RFPs, tenders, that sort of thing. And when these come in, these can be pages and pages and pages long, and finding the content that you need to respond to can be very frustrating. This could summarize the bits that I need to get at and respond to very effectively, I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And you can almost ask the large language model, the Copilot, to do the analysis for you and ask those questions that we asked earlier, which, for example, in your case, would be when do we need to respond by, or is there any specific mention of the formatting in which we need to respond? So, for example, I showed just here, I said, what are the features and benefits of the electric bamboo toothbrush? And it's given me a summary. So, for example, removes up to 10 times more plaque. So you can start asking specific questions, as you said, even in your world.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely love this. So that's PowerPoint then. Where else can we go and do Copilot magic?
I'd say let's go into Excel.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. I would imagine Copilot. This is probably its most difficult and challenging area. I would have thought Excel. How do you interpret things in here? I'm eager to see.
I absolutely agree with you that in Excel, compared to all the other functionalities, this is perhaps the most challenging one. Um,
Hmm.
I assume probably because of the formatting and what is going on. The power of the large language model is it's been trained on the amount of text and understanding. And here we are almost asking it to work in a very different format. But I'm sure it will evolve. Let's see what it can do for now.
Mm-hmm.
So here I've got a large Excel spreadsheet with employee data. The reason why I've highlighted this table, which is actually quite lengthy, is because Copilot only works with the table once it's been formatted as a table. So that's perhaps one of the first few limitations that we're seeing.
Okay.
Oh, you can see I've already been querying, but let's just ignore what's there. And start off, it's always giving me prompts, which is quite nice. What I like to start with is asking to show the data insights.
Okay.
So I'm not necessarily asking a specific question, but I'm curious at what Copilot can extract as an insight.
Hmm. I'm getting some things through quite quickly already.
Yeah. So here's an insight I found. The average bonus percentage by department is 12% for marketing. So it's grouped the percentages of the bonus by
Hmm.
the marketing. And
Yeah.
what's cool, I can add this to the new sheet.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
And there
That
it
is.
is for me,
Oh,
together
how
with the
cool!
graph.
Awesome.
I can ask for more insights.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just change the topic first.
Okay.
Actually, would you like to ask any specific questions to the data? So, what I
Ooh.
thought we could do is ask which country has the highest annual salary
That's a good idea.
and
Yeah,
which.
let's see what it brings back. And when we see what the top one is, we can all move to that country.
Yeah, yeah. Brazil. We should all go to Brazil. So, according to my analysis, the country with the highest average annual salary is Brazil, and it also gives us the figure. And the president is the role is vice president. So,
Yeah. We could be vice president in Brazil, couldn't we? I don't see why not.
and then let's have a look. So, let's just say we want to know which job title has the highest number of employees.
Yeah.
So just to bring it back again, Excel, we think of Excel as the formulas, and it is formulas. This is what it's meant
Mm,
to be. The tool is for analyzing, but we are bringing large language model into here, and we are asking questions about the data in a way
mm,
somebody else would ask when they first open this and they're curious. I'd be curious who is earning the most.
yeah.
So according to my analysis, the job title with the highest number of employees is director with a total of 121 employees.
Wow, 121 directors. That's a lot of directors.
Too many.
Cool. Oh, that is sensational. How easy it did that.
Yeah, yeah. And then I guess the next one is I just want to show, let's just say I'm wanting to highlight the cells yellow where people are working in accounting, because you've seen when we were with this, some of them were already in
Mm.
red for the ones that are working in IT.
Oh, yeah.
So I can edit as well. Yeah,
So it can
there
make
you go.
edits for you. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, go on, Peter.
I just had again how quickly it did that, and you can quickly and easy filter those views now in Excel and see those in the clear colors. So I'm just really impressed. I'm blown away by this.
Yeah, it's awesome. I thought some of the specific use cases would be perhaps somebody that is new to their role or new to the
Mm,
working world, and they don't have experience with Excel. So, for example, I
mm,
just asked to sort the bonus percentage from smallest to the largest. And I think we take things for granted. So, to be able to go
mm.
here and sort from smallest to largest, but perhaps this can help somebody get familiar with Excel or just get by whilst they're getting familiar with Excel.
Mm. Definitely. I mean, it would certainly help me because of all of the Microsoft Office products that I've worked with for throughout my career. Excel is the one I'm least familiar and comfortable with. It's the one I've had to use the least. But in my more recent roles as a team manager, I find myself looking at more reports like this and spreadsheets, and I've had to get to know Excel a lot better than I ever thought I would. So, but this would certainly help me to understand more and quickly get at what I need to get at.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So far we've covered Outlook, we've covered Word,
Hmm.
PowerPoint, Excel, we've covered the core applications you'd be working with. And
Yep.
what I want to do now is jump into Loop, which is quite new and quite exciting, but it also has Copilot capabilities that I have wanted to show.
Mm. And
So
I love Loop. And just for those who might not know what Loop is about, are you able to just briefly explain what it is and what it does?
yeah, yeah. In the simplest terms, I'd like to think of this as a OneNote, but OneNote in a way that enables you to work with others real time as you go and share information much, much easier.
Mm.
So in OneNote, it can be perhaps challenging to, let's say you've written something down the notes and it's quite difficult to like send that page to somebody else. But what Loop is focused on is making your collaboration with others as easy as possible, as
Mhm.
real time as possible, and bring that collaboration as well into the other apps like Outlook and Teams. So I'll show you. It's quite
Yeah.
exciting to see.
Cool.
So I do also have my Copilot here, and you can see the icon. I press the / and I can
Hmm.
draft the page content. And I can say, create a list of interview questions that I can ask in an interview to a senior software engineer. So in a way, I'm keeping this in theme.
Hmm.
There you go. So we've got
Ah,
about 10 questions. What I'd like to do is, and I think they're quite good questions as well. Um, can you
definitely.
describe a situation where you had to make a trade off between code quality and delivering on time?
Mm. I'm sure there's plenty of developers who might be watching who could relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. What I want to show on the right here is I can continue working with my prompt and I can say, add to the list of questions, 2 questions about the personal hobbies and interests.
Mm.
And that's something I want to highlight as well. When we are working with AI, it's easy to take things for granted and think that the final thing that it produces, this is the final result, when in
Mm.
reality, we are meant to work together as a team. I can't get disappointed that it didn't include these questions. I need to give it guidance that these are the questions I also like to have.
Yeah.
So, for example, it's added questions 11 and 12. So, can you tell us about your hobbies and how have they influenced your work as a software engineer? And
Mm.
can you share with us personal interests or passions that you pursue outside of work? What's also awesome, I can say add a title to the list of questions and group the questions based by the topic. So
Mm.
we'll introduce some that are interview related, well, role related, some are hobbies. So let's just quickly group them together. So when we are in the interview, there you go.
Oh, yes. Fantastic. Oh, this
Yeah.
is wonderful. I must admit, I do use Loop more and more in my own team, and I'm starting to use it for weekly team meeting agendas and task lists and things like that. And when you add in Copilot to it, it's just phenomenal, the value that it provides.
Absolutely. And for me personally, I completely moved away from OneNote. I'm loving Loop, and any opportunity I get to bring everybody else along to me, I send them the components and they learn about it. And there hasn't been a single person that has learned about Loop and said, like,
Mm.
everybody has decided to move over in a way and explore it.
Totally agree. Yes, I no longer use OneNote, and OneNote was my go-to for many, many years.
Yeah. So, but this is not the only capability of Copilot and Loop. So, what
Yeah.
I'm wanting to do next is, let's just say I've been shared this.
Hmm.
So, the page, and I want to very quickly understand what it's about. So, at the top of the page, I can summarize it.
Mm.
So there we go. So page summary. This page provides tips on how to convey a clear and concise message in a brief amount of time. The author introduces a groundbreaking solution to the challenge of effective collaboration in remote teams. And just the
Hmm.
final one, the page also provides tips on how to end an elevator pitch. So let's just say this one is quite easy to understand what an elevator pitch is, for example. But let's
Yeah.
just say you're designing, you're creating some specific documentation, and it's quite easy to get involved into the content, but not summarize what it is in mind of the audience that's going to finally receive this document. So that's what I find is helpful for. And it's an awesome one. Let's go into a specific section, and let's say I want to brainstorm some ideas on how to include a call to action in my elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Actually, come over here. So here you can see I've actually done this before, and that's why I have the Copilot icon over here. It's indicating this content has been created with Copilot, and
Mm.
I can even see the previous versions and what the edited content look like.
Yeah. So it's learned by your previous actions. It's getting to know you and your
Yeah,
requirements.
yeah.
Awesome.
So it's saying an alternative call to action, and here are the examples of what it could be.
Mm.
So ask for a meeting or follow up, direct them to a website, provide a special offer. What's cool is as I'm going over the lines, it's showing that the Copilot here as is the author. But
Hmm.
then when I go to the ones that have been specifically created by me, or if I edit and change them and add and move things around, it will start adding me as the author and co-pilot. So it's quite
Ah, I
good
see.
to keep track of, I guess, the source and who's responsible for creating things, because that's going to be such a consideration as we move forward in terms of credibility and
Mm.
who's created what.
Definitely, yeah, that's really helpful actually. And the other thing I really like about Loop as well, I mean, you're using it here in its own application, in its own browser, but Loop can be surfaced within Teams and other applications too, can't it? I love using it in Teams.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So if I, for example, want to share this page as a loop component,
Hmm.
let's just say I have decided to add you.
Hey, there I am.
There you are. And as I go into Teams, let me just, once I do paste it,
Hmm.
it comes in as a dynamic component, which means you can edit this yourself. And I'm not sure if
Ah,
you're able to jump into Teams right now, but
I can. I can.
maybe,
So
yeah,
I can
maybe you add a,
actually. Hello, this is Peter. There you go. Nice little new bullet point there.
yeah,
How instant was that? That was live co-authoring, really, wasn't it? Absolutely
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So let's just say I'm a recruiter and I'm preparing these questions before the interview. I can just send them to the hiring manager and say, do you want to add anything? Do you have any feedback? And
Yeah.
they can just type it in straight away. There is no need for us to send each other emails. There's no need for us to type these questions in Word and send each other multiple Word versions. This is the power of Loop.
Absolutely. This is the power of loop. I love that. I love that statement. Absolutely fantastic. And as I say, I'm using this in my team already, and I'm finding it so effective. And it's right there, isn't it? Loop baked into quite a few of the Microsoft 365 licenses. It's not something that you have to go and spend a great deal of money on, is it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. One consideration you should make is it contributes to your SharePoint online storage, but
Mm.
that's all in terms of the licensing. It's very accessible to most people. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. And of course, now we're in Teams as well. And one of the things that I like using Copilot for in Teams is summarizing some of the meetings that I've missed, maybe, or I'm joining late. I imagine that's something that you've used as well for that purpose. And is there any other good stuff within Teams that we can talk about?
There is so much, and that's why I'd love to dedicate it a separate video. So,
Good
what we've
idea.
covered, yeah, exactly. Teams, I'd say, it's my favorite functionality of the Copilot in
Mm.
Teams, in terms of saving time. So,
Mm.
today we've covered, I'd say, the foundational. apps that you would be working with day to day. So Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. I have also added Loop as the foundational app.
Yeah.
Um, but let's do a follow up because there's so much more to explore beyond the Teams. So, for example, the Microsoft Copilot chat that you can use for the work and for the web as well. It just extends the capability of Copilot even beyond of what we've seen today.
Oh, superb. Well, I think you're entirely right, Natalia. I think that's a great place to leave it. So I shall remove your presentation now, and let's go back to just you and I talking. And I can't believe we've been talking for 52 minutes already. That went by so quickly, and you've shown me and the viewers so much good stuff. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's really been insightful. I've learned so much that I didn't know about Copilot. We will definitely have you back on very soon. We'll do something on Teams, and we'll continue the conversation about Copilot. I'm so thrilled that you were so generous with your time today. So, any final thoughts from you before we wind things up?
Thank you for inviting me, Peter. It's been a pleasure, and let's grow together with Copilot as it evolves and do more series, do more follow-ups because there's so much more to learn and to explore. Yeah.
Let's grow together with Copilot. I love that. Well, thank you all for joining me. As always, do remember to hit that subscribe button down there and give me and Natalia a massive thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video today. You can also become a member by hitting the join button, and if you don't want to miss a video from me, do hit that notifications bell, ring that bell, and you'll never miss a video. Brilliant. Well, let's sign off. Let's wind up the video, and I'll see you all again very soon. And Natalia will be back with me again very soon as well, I am sure. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.